Welcome to Presidio Arena. Presidio Arena, this is the arena where we talk about safety and preparedness in general. And sometimes we dive into certain topics. And one of the topics we will dive into today is water, our family's preparedness regarding water. And why do we want to talk about preparedness? And why do we want to talk about water today? We want to do that because the Danish Security and Intelligence Service has just released a new threat assessment regarding water. Both our wastewater and our drinking water. They say that there have been various cyber attacks on our water supply, and that means that we as a family clearly need to have our water preparedness sorted out at home. We also know that the government has said that we should have our family's preparedness for up to 3 days. So today I will try to go through 4 different topics. First, I want to talk a bit about our preparedness, you and your family. Why do we actually need water at all? Why do we as humans need water? And finally, what kind of preparedness should we build up at home? How many liters do we need and where can we possibly get it from? I have a lot of experience with water myself because I have been a Special Forces soldier for a really, really long time. It's important when we're out that we both drink the right amount of water because it gives us energy, and of course that we can find water when we're not there. Let's talk a bit about us as humans, the need we have for water. And generally we say that we need 3 liters a day. And why do we need it? It's because we humans are made up of about 40% water. The body is mainly made up of water because we need to be able to regulate our body temperature. We want to be at this 37 degrees, and if we sweat a lot, it's water that cools us down. And if we freeze, we generate a lot of heat through processes in the body where water is involved. So water is the most important thing. In fact, they say that we can survive maybe 10, 20, or 30 days without food, as long as we have water. So water is the most important ingredient for our body. That's why we need to build our preparedness around water. Another important thing is that when we talk about water, it's also that when we think, it's actually electrical impulses. Everything about how the body functions and acts is driven by electrical impulses. And it's from cell to cell that there's an electrical impulse that travels through, and that's why it conducts so well, because they are full of water. So the electrical impulse zips back and forth through our cells. So if we don't have water in our bodies, we can't send impulses and we can't act. So we can't act on our preparedness. Now we need to talk about the family's water preparedness. How many liters do you need at home? How many liters do you need for each individual and for the whole family? Each person should have 3 liters a day. I know that some say 2 to 3 liters. Let's just say 3 liters. So that means you need to have 3 liters per person each day. If we are a family of 4, then there should be 4 times 3, which is 12 liters for a day. And if you need, as the government says, 3 days worth, then that's 3 times 12, which is 36 liters. That's how it looks. I actually have 30 days worth of water at home for me and my family, so that's 360 liters of water. That's a lot. And how are you supposed to have it? Well, we can either buy small half-liter bottles or 1-liter bottles, but we can also be smart and go buy these jugs that hold 20 liters. And I've also seen on various sites that some have 100-liter jugs. When we start storing water ourselves, there are some things we need to take into our calculations. The things we need to think about are, where do we get the water from? Are we getting the water from our own tap? Are we getting it from rainwater? Where is it? Water has a certain shelf life. And if we look it up in the different books, we can see that if water is just left outside, it might last about a week. But if we keep it properly in the right container, use the right material and seal it correctly, then it can last almost up to 6 months. And that's where we need to go when we talk about preparedness. We take the water from our tap and put it in these jugs. It can be made of steel, glass, or plastic. They just need to be cleaned first. Clean the jug so it has a longer shelf life. Fill the water directly from the tap, and when we close the lid here, we make sure to seal it properly so it has a much longer shelf life. Once we have gone through our water, all 360 liters, for 10 days, we need to have a rotation for this water. We need to make sure every 6 months, with me, that we change it. So remember to write the date on it. That's why it's a bit smart when we buy these water bottles. You can't see it now, but there's a small date on it saying when it was manufactured, so we can just read it and then swap it out. Just remember here, when we rotate our water, there's no throwing it out. We can definitely use that to water our plants, and we can also place it in the next link. In the water food chain, no throwing it out, but always reuse it. If we find ourselves in a preparedness situation where we need to use some of that old water, then we can also use these tablets here, which are actually water purification tablets that we put into the water. It has an effect. I think there's quite a bit of chlorine in it, but it can taste a bit like a swimming pool, but it's quite reasonable to use. We also have a water purification kit. So if it's water that we collect from a lake or rainwater, we can run it through something like a life straw, which cleans it. There's an activated carbon filter inside, and that way we get the good, clean water. There are really many methods by which we can purify water and find it. And among other things, in Suzanne Skov-Diemer's book, Prepare Yourself Best for the Worst, she has some great tips on how we can get this water purification process up and running. In some of the upcoming episodes that we make, we will try to cover how to collect rainwater. How can we collect water from dew? How can we do that outside by the lakes? And what is it that we need to be careful about? Is it a still lake? Is it a living lake? All these things and stuff. But right now, it's important that you get some water for your personal preparedness at home with the family, either in jugs or in water bottles, and get that done. If you want to see more about what we do, then click over to presidioarena.com. Over there, we have the new platform where you can see much more about preparedness and what we do to maintain the family's readiness. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Hi.